All right, so maybe you're wondering, how could I get nearly free, almost endless fruit in my backyard in DFW? And I've got an easy answer for you: blackberries. Blackberries are the answer. You can get your first vine or 2 or 3 for probably less than $20 total. And if you can be a little patient, not much, you can then take cuttings from them, and I'll show you in a minute how to put them in multiple places and multiple scenarios so that you can have a tremendous number of edible berries that require very, very little work or money or time, as long as you get this first part right. And if you're looking for a big backyard where you can grow a bunch of berries, that's what I do. That's what my team helps me do. We help people buy homes on land or big backyard properties all over DFW, and we also help people sell them. And my information is somewhere near this video. Reach out, we'll take good care of you. Okay, so before we get going, you want to get the right varieties. In our area, great options are Ouachita, Natchez, and Apache. You could also probably do well with Arapaho or Kiowa. All of these are named after native tribes that were at least somewhat in the area. But blackberries are going to do really well here. They want a ton of heat. They do want fertile soil, but they don't need it. You can drop it right in our local clay, as long as you can keep them watered but not waterlogged. That's about all you need to know. So right here in the raised beds in our garden, surrounded by pavers, lots of heat, they do really well. I just trellis them up with some basic rope. I've used wire. They don't really care. They're going to keep expanding and spreading. If you want to be obsessive about maintenance, you can learn a little bit about which wood they grow on, and you can trim last year's wood off and let new year's. You don't even have to worry about that if you put them in places that are not so central and obvious. And I'll show you what I've done right here. Blackberries, if I haven't already said it, don't need a lot of love, but they'll love you back big time. So I've put 10 cuttings from those vines over there. Those vines lean over, they root. I cut the main vine, pull the roots up with it, and I put those right in the ground all over my property. Mulch those in, especially if you do this in the spring, then you got time for those spring rains before the hot summer heat comes. Mulch those in, and every single one of these will start to look like the big berry patch that I just showed you a minute ago. So this whole thing is intended to basically be a wall of berries, and some of these will fruit this summer. By next summer, this will be a bonanza of berries. I'll show you some other things I've done with them around the yard here in a second. All right, this is a little bit wilder part of the yard, so I just leave these things alone. The good news here is I lost one of my privacy hollies, and I decided I didn't need it based on the coverage of my plants, so I had drip irrigation here. Any place you do have irrigation that you can control, it's a great spot to either put a brand new berry bush or transplant one of those blackberry growths with rooted cuttings. And this guy's already quadrupled in size in the last 1 week. And as soon as we get this thing established, which I think we will by the heat of the summer, I'll bet you we get berries off this, and I'll shoot a video to prove it to you. Another place that I like to put berries, I do blackberries a lot. I do experiment with some raspberries. They're wonderful, but they're not as reliable as blackberries in our area. But I'll put them under my fruit trees, especially younger fruit trees that are not going to shade them out within the next few years. They're going to get plenty of sun. Those roots are going to hold the soil together. I'm going to get some edible fruit here before this tree is fully ready to give me edible fruit, which may be some trees 5 years, some trees 2 or 3, but I'm going to be enjoying this area and that irrigation and this mulch for years before that tree comes in. When the tree comes in and it fills out, it's probably going to shade these out. These won't do as well, although this exact one will still have some eastern sun exposure, maybe even western, but it'll be shaded out from that southern sun. Underneath the fruit trees are a great place. I also put some onions, some thyme. I've got some wild onions, but these blackberries are going to do well here, at least for several years until the tree grows. So that's just bonus fruit in the backyard for me. I'm crouching down under probably a 50-foot tall cottonwood tree that was planted to shade the pond and keep pond water in the pond. But I'm also going to use this as a natural trellis for about 20 little blackberry cuttings that I've put under this tree. It should be able to seep water from the pond, so I should never ever have to water this. And as it grows up and vines up, these little plants should latch on to some of these limbs. I'll help them if I have to, and then I'll forget it forever, except for when we come over and eat hundreds of berries off this thing every single year. So right at my feet is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more blackberry cuttings. Now remember, I'm not just cutting these off the vine. I'm letting them fall or bend over, root, then I'm cutting them, bringing a rooted cutting out and transplanting them in the ground. So all back here, I've got a pond system where one pond drains into the other. And so these things are being naturally kind of watered from the ground. And I'll run this once a week or so once it's hot, run it a little more often when it's cool, but they'll be watered that way. I don't have any irrigation back here. It's going to get a lot of sun early and midday, a little bit of late shade, which will help these younger plants. When they're mature, they won't care about that at all. I've also got some gooseberries over there, just so you know. But this video is not intended to talk to you about cuttings. It's just how easy it is to get thousands of berries for an initial investment of probably $20. If you're paying for mulch, maybe $50 or $60 initially, and then they just can compound and compound and compound. Even without transplanting, these things are gonna expand. If you put them on a tree line or the edge of a wooded area or next to another tree, they're gonna grow and expand on their own. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can't do almost anything that will feed you easier than you can do blackberries. So that's how you get almost endless, almost free berries, fruit right out of your yard. Blackberries, I gave you the varieties, give them a ton of sun. Now as a bonus, how not to do it. Notice I am not in a ton of sun and it's basically midday. So I planted these just as an easy transplant area because I had some irrigation in nearly full shade. And they'll still do okay. You can see they've got some flowering berries that are coming on. And you'll also see what I said before. If you just leave them alone, they'll bend over, they'll reroot a whole new plant, and you'll have shoots that come up from the roots. So 1, 2, probably 5 or 10 more there. That's a tip regrowing, but this will not put on a whole bunch of berries because it just doesn't get enough sun. It's gonna get water, good soil, but not enough sun. It'll do okay because these things are invincible. But if you want to set them up really well, rewatch this video, share it with a friend, enjoy the fruit. And if you want to buy a property that you can do all this, let me know. That's what we do. I'll see you on the next video.